And unless you guys hear otherwise from me, you are good to go. Have a great meeting. I'm here if you need.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Happy September, if you can believe it. Okay, so everyone received the agenda for this meeting? Great. Any comments or anything about that before we dive in? Great. Okay, so looking at the agenda here, the discussion items, the first one, there's no presentations today, I believe. So we'll dive into the consultant request for proposal review. I guess that'd be Stephanie. Or, yeah.
Actually, it's not me.
Oh, okay.
It is the venues are really in the purview of the Recreation and Culture Division. So I think that Kevin and Dawn
Sure.
will be leading that and can give you the update on where we sit.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Thank you, Stephanie. And I wanted to introduce Kevin Datema, who is currently the acting director for Recreation and Culture. And he does have a presentation that he'd like to share with you. Okay. We were just finalizing, given some timing items. So I will turn it over to Kevin, and he can give you the presentation.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I do have a brief PowerPoint deck, so I will just share my screen and take you through that. Okay. I'm hoping everybody can see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a little bit of background, and I'm sure you're all aware, but the council direction was staff to engage the services of a professional firm with expertise in municipal theaters development, design, and management to review the recommendations of the Performing Arts Task Force and report back to General Committee by way of memorandum, detailing the recommendations of the firm, including but not limited to project timelines, resource requests, and project design scope. So we did go to market. We
Kevin?
had 4. Yes.
Sorry, you're not in full screen mode, and you're still on your first front page of your presentation. Just so you're aware.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's showing up on my screen as a full screen, but
yeah.
I will.
You might need to get out, move it to full screen, and then share again. We don't want anyone to miss all the good bits.
Okay, my apologies. I'm
prepared and ready if you end up needing help.
Okay, it looks like it's still. Like I said, I'm seeing it full screen, but I don't know that you're seeing it full screen.
We're getting the little spinning wheel, so either your computer's up to something or it's frozen.
Okay, I might have to ask Brandy to save me here then. and if she can share her screen, Brandy, then I'll just go ahead and speak to it.
Not a problem. So I'll just share my screen. I'll just get you to give me one quick second.
Not a problem.
Let me know if you guys are able to see this okay.
Yep, that's working perfectly.
Okay, so you've got the presentation in front of you?
I do.
We do.
Perfect, thank you. Let me know when you need me to switch.
Okay, thanks, Brandy. If we could advance through to next slide. Okay. And I believe we touched on, so this is the slide I opened with just to give you a little bit of background in terms of how we got here. Now we can go to the next slide, please, Brandy. So before I get into this slide, I was just mentioning that we did go to market. We had 4 firms submit. The successful proponent was Hariri Pontorini Architects, HPA. I prefer an acronym myself. So HPA is a leading Canadian design firm known for crafting projects of enduring value. They were founded in 1994, and the firm's portfolio spans a very diverse range of institutional, cultural, mixed use, commercial, and residential projects of international acclaim. In 2020, HPA led a feasibility study and concept design for this particular project site. And as you're all aware, at that particular time, we were looking at using the existing footprint. We have since untethered ourselves from that approach. That's where the task force came into play. So in terms of prior to working on the Fisher Auditorium feasibility study, HPA also partnered with the City of Barrie to convert and expand the 1970s era Carnegie Library into what is now present day McLaren Arts Center, which is also part of Barrie's cultural corridor. So we do have some experience with HPA, and we did have a kickoff meeting with them on Friday of last week. So we are just at the infancy of embarking on this consulting process with HPA, but like I said, they're well versed in our scope of work. So next slide, please. So in terms of scope of work, our consultant is going to focus on over the course of the next 2 slides, this particular scope of work. So part A being space requirement validation. So what is the optimal seating and performance size spaces for Barrie's PAC? Part B will be the building criteria, standards, and equipment. So what are the optimal configuration, equipment needs, and standards that should be met? Part C of scope, impacts to management structure and operating model. So how would the optimal configuration and business model impact an operating budget? Part D, and I know this is very near and dear to all involved on the call, stakeholder engagement and recommendation report. So there will be meetings with city staff as well as arts and cultural stakeholders. The firm will then incorporate feedback into a final recommendation or recommendations that will inform scope development for architectural concept design drawings. Next slide, please. So part E of scope development. So once recommendations are finalized, architect will develop a detailed scope of work for the optimized venue configuration and a list of priorities to be used to inform the conceptual design for a new performing arts center. In terms of project timelines, we will speak to that when we do get to the next slide in terms of project schedule. So part G will be a pre-opening plan. So the firm HPA will provide a high-level, macro-level pre-opening plan that will not include design and construction. It will outline the steps required to get to opening night and full venue operations. Part H will include conceptual design and Class D estimates. So HPA will present the 2 preliminary design concepts to the city, as well as our arts and culture stakeholders for feedback at the 80% completion of the conceptual designs. That feedback is meant to inform and finalize the design concepts for final submission to the city. And that will bring us to part J, which is concept and design final submission and report. So a full report will include all relevant analysis and recommendations along with final concept designs and will be presented to council. So next slide, please. So as we look at the project schedule, you can see that, like I said, we had a kickoff meeting on Friday. There are some things happening concurrently in the months of September and October. It's proposed to be a 6-month project wrapping up in early March. The most intriguing piece, I think, for this particular meeting is the 4th one down, interviews with stakeholders and local presenters. That's going to happen effectively from now till the end of October. So we will supply HPA with a more fulsome stakeholder list. And from there, they will be coordinating all of the touch base meetings with our stakeholders. And of course, you can see the remainder of the schedule. I don't know if you want me to take you through the entire schedule. I really wanted to highlight that we have had our kickoff meeting. We are embarking on this project, and interviews with stakeholders are imminent. So that's going to be happening in the very near future. And next slide, Randy. I believe that's just questions. So happy to answer any questions that may be associated.
So who's the point of contact to set up those interviews, or how are those going to be done?
Those are going to flow through HPA. So we will, in terms of how this project is going to be managed, through our corporate facilities branch, they have a project lead on this. So the project lead will deal with the consultant basically from a project standpoint. And then myself and team will be commenting on the operating of what the Performing Arts Center might how it might operate, et cetera. So my lead is right now Jenny, in corporate facilities. But again, HPA is going to be managing this. They are our consultant. We have brought them on to manage this process. So it will be directly through HPA.
So HPA will be reaching out to each of the companies individually?
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. Another question that I have is the consultant involved at all in looking into potential funding opportunities for the city to get the project funded? I'm seeing shaking of heads.
Yeah, no.
No? Okay, so that's something that the city is responsible for?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And who's on the stakeholder list? What?
It's currently in development. We're refining the list, or shouldn't say refining. We're developing the list for HPA. So that is currently, we discussed it on Friday at our kickoff meeting. So it's something that we're working on internally currently. I don't have the fulsome list and who is involved, but knowing the importance of the project, and we want to speak to our local community and those other presenters that may come to our PAC. So that list is still being developed, but it's meant to be inclusive, so we can hear from those we need to hear from.
Ian, what's the name of your group that you're on with Chuck?
Yeah, so I was just going to say, so the Barrie Arts Alliance is the group of sort of performing arts leaders that comes together every few weeks to talk about these kinds of things, and it's pretty inclusive. Like, there's lots of different groups on there, so I would certainly be happy to send along a point of contact to everyone, or perhaps if they'd be interested in meeting with us all at once as part of that process, I think that would be something that the Alliance would very much welcome.
Is there any opportunity for public consultation by the consultant?
I believe within the schedule, once we have stakeholder meetings and we get to the 80% conceptual drawings, there will be a public open house. So the public will have a chance to provide input and review at that point in time.
Can I ask something? Has the city and the advisory committee ever considered, as an advisory committee, Ian, you have several cultural groups that you recognize. Has there ever been consultation with your group about actually having a plan with each group, that they go to their stakeholders, the people that come to their performances, year-long, summer-long, whatever, but actually a plan for you actually to seed the idea and promote the Performing Arts Center, to bring those gifts to the table yourselves, as well as through the city? Because I think part of the issue is I know that I can feel the push-pull of money, and trust me, I've been there with the McLaren. When CMAC did our project, the building costs came in at 3 times what we had budgeted, or something like that. But what I think is missing here is there's lots of questions from you, Ian, about what they're doing, what the size is, how big is it going to be. But I think that you have a role in actually determining that by actually doing some development work with your stakeholders, because they're the people that want this as much as you. And I think that there could be, whether when you have the fundraising development professional, Kevin, that you'll obviously, or Stephanie, hire. But I believe that right now that each cultural group that wants to participate in this organization should start promoting this right now. Recognizing that a very well-respected international architectural firm has been hired. They're going to provide the very best performing arts center that the Barrie can offer, but you need to dig in and dig to your pockets, and you have a valued chance of this. And I think that promotion and awareness in the next 2 years could really help the fundraising that comes with the city. So I think, I know that you guys all are worried about seats, you're worried about this, you're worried about that, but I think you need to partner as a group, the advisory council, and I come talk to you about it, about a communications awareness program, so that those people that really want it, you tell your people how much you want it, and you build value in what the city is doing, because they're doing a good thing. They've hired an excellent firm, but it's up to your stakeholders to actually determine how this comes out, and put the onus on them, put the value on them, and make them feel important and that they do have a role. So it's not like a funneling, we want money now. The work has been done by the advisory council and your cultural groups. Take that on as an awareness piece in all your communication and seed it with things like, we've hired the consultant. These are the kind of projects that they've done around the world, so that it builds the excitement, but it also may allow you to actually access larger gifts. And it will not, if you have developed your relationships enough within your advisory group, you're going to be able to secure gifts that the fundraiser may not be able to, or whatever. And that will not, in my experience, because I've raised lots of money, that capital ask in addition with the valued person does not affect your operating at all. In fact, it often brings more gifts to you because they feel a part of it and they feel valued. So I think that the advisory council as a whole needs to sit down right now and not worry about seats and all that, but think about a communication strategy and awareness to build excitement for the performing arts, so that when the city starts to develop, you have a handle on who might help them. The grass is green, it's seeded, people are excited because it is an exciting process. And also telling them that you're a huge part of this and that you are going to advocate for them to have the very best place possible. So leave your relationships to get money instead of, sitting waiting for the city fundraiser. Do your own as a group and start it now. So in 2 to 3 years, when they come out, people are really in the group, and your stakeholders that can give not only to you and to this are positioned to make the best gift ever.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, we just heard about this hiring recently. So like, I personally feel like I would like, I will certainly pass that along to the Alliance, and we can discuss that. Obviously, in terms of fundraising and stuff, yeah, absolutely, we need a coordinated strategy around that, and yeah, we'll absolutely be playing our part and doing our bit. But we just want to make sure, I think, that in this sort of conceptual stage, that it's aligning with our various needs, because if it doesn't, then it's going to be harder to sell to our donors. At least that's my perspective, but I'll certainly bring that forward to the Alliance. And when it comes to fundraising, I'm all ears all the time. That's also why I brought up the question of whether or not the consultant looks into it, because, for instance, recently I was doing Theater by the Bay's big grant calendar for the year, and I discovered all sorts of grants that are done through the various levels of government towards capital campaigns, towards capital projects, towards arts and culture facilities, both in terms of renovations, but also construction. So I just wanted to make sure that, as the question of money comes up, that the city is aware of all the various granting avenues that are available to them for each stage of the project. So I don't disagree at all, and I thank you.
I just think you should just start now and keep them abreast as you're abreast and you're of everything, because it builds excitement. That's all.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
They feel a part of it.
For sure. Any other questions for Kevin? Councillor Riepma?
Yeah, I just had one question. I very much agree with Janet. I think this is an opportunity for us to build momentum and excitement, and I think that that will be translated into funding. The question I have for Kevin is, is there a role for this advisory committee in this project?
And I might need support from Dawn on this one. I'm not aware. I don't believe so, but I might look to Dawn to help me confirm that.
Thank you, Kevin. And I expect that the advisory committee will be consulted, or members of the advisory committee, because of their connections to so many organizations, and particularly the Arts Alliance, will be consulted as stakeholders. As you're aware, with the term of council ending, technically this committee ends, and it will be at the discretion of a new council to continue a committee or reform a committee in a different manner. So at this point in time, our focus would be on the committee members as stakeholders, and then and determining with the new council what type of committee exists in the future.
And we do have one opportunity. The elections are actually on Monday, October the 24th. These meetings are typically the third Tuesday of every month. So if it's going to be September and October that the consultant is doing interviews, potentially if we scheduled what I'll call our regular meeting, which would be October the 18th, that would be before the election. So we're not disbanded. We wouldn't be disbanded yet, and we'd give an opportunity for the consultant to talk to us within the time frame.
Just to note that that time frame is when voting is actually open, and all of the legislative and court services resources will be required to support the election. So your normal meeting time may need to be adjusted. It can occur after the election. The term of council doesn't actually end till mid-November, and the new term is sworn in at that point in time. But I will jump in on behalf of the Ledge and Court team, who will be fully occupied supporting the election. There will be voting online starting on the 14th through to the 24th. So it's 10 full days that are available to people, which would make it very challenging to support committee meetings at the same time.
Yeah, it's just a shame because it took us like we've been together for a year. We're established already. We've come together kind of as a team to work out a lot of things, and we're available for another month or two, and which coincides with what's necessary on the interviews.
I am sure that HPA, given their experience, will find a way of coordinating with the committee. So I have every confidence in that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions or thoughts about the consultant request? Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. All right, moving along to Culture Days. So Amanda.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Culture Days starts this weekend. So Friday is the official kickoff or official start of the festival, but the kickoff concert and community programming really starts rolling out on Saturday. So this Saturday, September 24th, we have a kickoff concert and some arts and community activities in Meridian Place from 10 till 5. The McLaren has some programming. They've got Angela out doing Indian block prints at Mulcaster and Dunlop as part of Open Air Dunlop for a good portion of the day. And they also have a speaker covering truth and reconciliation in the afternoon. We've also got the Barrie Public Library's Comic Fest happening from 10 till 3 on Saturday, and City of Barrie's Game On event, which is online for the most part of the day, but then there's a 19+ event in the 5 Points Theatre that evening. The Farmers Market's on. Like I said, Open Air Dunlop is happening. There's tons of stuff happening downtown on Saturday, and that's just the start of 3 weeks of programming. So following that, we've got a variety of in-person, self-guided, and online activities for people to take in. Theatre by the Bay's 24-hour playwriting contest is taking place during that time. We've got a podcasting workshop. Katie Green from Spare Room is doing paint mini tech decks, little finger skateboard decks as a 2-night workshop. There's an emerging artists gallery show at Spare Room over the two first weekends. Jill Price and Francis Thomas, two very reputable visual artists in our community, have the PT Art Collab. They're doing a project called Becoming Rock that starts on October 1st that encourages people to go down to the waterfront, find the signs, and become one with the rocks and create a sculpture with the rocks and take a selfie and share those online. So there's all kinds of really fun things going on. There's some free performances by Skyliners Big Band, the Oh my goodness, Barrie Concert Band, and all kinds of other stuff going on. We've got historical walking tours. Carolyn's also doing some brightening barriers walking tours. There's tons of things going on. So the event calendar is being updated. We are going through a website update at the same time. So I'm waiting to find out when the website has been fully updated with the content. But if you check out barrie.ca/culture days, lots of the listings are there. There are more on the National Culture Days website as well. We've registered our events there. And we have rack cards. You can pick those up at City Hall. If you wanted to grab a bunch of them, just shoot me an email and I can leave them down for you at the service Barrie desk. If you've got anywhere you want to put them. If you're in the downtown, let me know and I'm happy to drop them off to you. We have already gotten them out to the recreation centers through our inter-office mail and to the libraries. So we've got those ones covered off and we're bringing some by to the McLaren once I get off this call. So I'm really excited for Culture Days. We've got a variety of things, like I said, happening. We are also doing a culture night out on Wednesday, October 12th. So it will be sort of similar to the event that we had back in June at the Sandbox. This one won't be so, won't be presentation based at all. We're just confirming our keynote speaker for the event. It should be something that will really inspire and bring a lot of context to this time of year. So I think it'll be a really great keynote speaker. We'll also have a bit of entertainment and a social element. So cash bar and appetizers, hors d'oeuvres, so that people can enjoy the evening and just get together and socialize. So you will each get an invitation by email. I'll get those out to Brandy once we've got all of the details firmly set for that. But it is Wednesday, October 12th from 6 till 9. So I hope to see some, if not all of you there. And that covers the Culture Days bit. I know I'm the last 3 items on the agenda, so if you want me to keep going,
away,
I can.
yeah. Unless there's any questions about Culture Days.
Sure.
Yeah, just Giants in the Sky. The Sunday was canceled because of the weather. Is that going to be made part of Culture Days again, or just rescheduled?
I don't think they're rescheduling it at all. I think it was just canceled due to weather. Yeah, I think with the schedule, that was the best they could do. Yeah. Yeah, I know it was a shame. I was really hoping to get out and see Carly Aikens perform on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Jan
everyone
Aikens,
was.
yeah, Jan Aikens is our bravado president. So yeah, we were all going to go down and see Carly.
I know, what a bummer, eh? That's the thing with the weather. Well, it's looking promising for us this Saturday. So everybody keep their fingers crossed that we don't get any thunderstorms Saturday and we'll be able to go ahead with our kickoff.
I just thought of one thing while I'm on here. I don't know whether anybody read the Globe this morning, but Talk is Free won 5 Doras last night.
Yes, I saw
think that's
that.
pretty amazing. And
yes,
I think that as a
is.
group, I just thought I'd mention that. And we're talking about all this and I'm like, oh my goodness. So I just thought I'd mention that because I think that's what they said in the news was that they won over many large established companies, the outside in Barrie. So I think, that's something to really be proud of and tell you that culture is alive and leading in Barrie.
Thank you for flagging that, Janet. I'm working on a newsletter that will go out this week that we'll make sure to give them their props there for that, because that is a great news story. All right.
Awesome. Anything else about Culture Days? Great. Back to you, Amanda.
Thanks. So Arts Awards, the deadline for nominations was yesterday at 4:30. We didn't get as many nominations as we would have liked. So we have extended the deadline until Wednesday, September 28th at 4:30 p.m. So if any of you were still thinking about nominating someone or wanted to please share it amongst your networks, I would really appreciate it. We don't have any nominations yet in the Most Promising Youth category or in the Artists Beyond Barriers category. So the Artists Beyond Barriers category is for an artist who is living with a disability and despite that has still gone on to create artwork. That can be both a visible or a non-visible disability. And that's sponsored by our Accessibility Advisory Committee. And then the Most Promising Youth is 19 and under. So if you know of anybody, the nomination process is not complicated. They can actually self-nominate and you could provide a letter of recommendation if that makes things easier. The information is all online at barrie.ca/arts awards. If you need any more information from me, I'm happy to send you exactly what you need. So yeah, we've got another week and a day to get some nominations in and hopefully in those 2 categories so that we've got a good selection to choose from.
Hey, Amanda.
Yeah.
What about that moving arts? They seem to do a lot of stuff. Would they not be somebody you should send that to? Have they got that
Is that
information?
Trudy? Is that Trudy Romanek over
I
there?
don't know.
Is
I
she
think they're
involved?
on Ann Street, but
Yeah.
No, it's
Lori Keller.
Mike Holland.
And
Who is
Carla
it?
Tucker.
Carla
It's
Tucker?
Mike- Yeah, Carla Tucker and Mike Holland.
I'm just wondering because they have a lot of different things like dance and all that, and they have a lot of youth programs. And maybe, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to email Nina Kazanowski, who I know, and she teaches Suzuki, and she will have young students. So maybe that's somebody. But I know that Moving Arts has several classes. They could be somebody. I'm not all in the loop because I don't have kids that age anymore, but I know that that's well recognized. And I'll email Nina today.
Thank you so much. Feel free to copy me if you want, Janet, and then I can send her all of the details directly if that makes things easier. Thank you both for that. That's a good one to end. That flagged me. Actually, I think Trudy Romanek was looking to get a nomination in, but she was away leading up to the deadline. So I will let her know that we've extended it. We have selected a date for the gala. It's Wednesday, November 16th. It's happening at the McLaren. You will all get an invitation by email as well as once we get ready for that part. We're very excited for that event, but right now the focus is absolutely on getting some good nominations. And I know that some people at this table have been participating in that process. So I thank you very much for that.
Okay, great. Any questions or anything about Barrie Arts Awards? All right, right on to the next one, Amanda.
Sure, yeah. So a while back, the committee had asked about if we had a one-pager, some sort of a directory of our various arts organizations, arts services, vendors, venues, etc. So we were lucky enough to have a summer student this year, Yasmin, who actually started one for us. It is a working document and we still have to really make sure that we aren't missing anybody. So it hasn't become a public document, but I wanted to just share it with you to give you a quick view of it. This is our last meeting. We will continue working on it and present the most current version of it to the new committee when that comes to be. But in the meantime, I thought it might be worth sharing. If you notice anything in terms of like a category we're missing, that's good information for us. So I'll just pull it up and go through it just quickly for you. Ian, can you see it? I see you're not muted.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, perfect, thanks. So we started off just again with visual arts organizations. For now, we've just listed the organization name and their website. Then we've got literary arts organizations, theater and dance, music, cultural organizations, funding opportunities, audiovisual service providers, and venues. So I know that we were probably looking for some other categories as well in there. But for now, we wanted to just cover off the main ones that the committee might be interested in learning more about or understanding who makes up the fabric of the organizations in our community. Again, we imagine that this document will become quite larger and we'll have a lot more information in it. Again, because we haven't vetted it fully, we aren't able to share it around with anybody yet. But if there was any thoughts as to more information that should be shared, I welcome it.
The one that isn't in there would be musicians. We just talked about Carly Aikens. So I know that Carly's here and there's a whole bunch of other folks.
Carly actually lives in Toronto.
Oh, does she? Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Jansen. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's where we sort of struggled was, are we going to get as detailed as, you know, every company that touches on the arts industry or individual artists? Because then, you know, it can become very, very onerous. Who's going to maintain this list? Yeah, go ahead, Steph.
No, Amanda, I think you were right on the money. One of the key things we have to think about in terms of creating the list and the resources is the ability to manage, update it, and keep it current. So the city is going through a website process right now, so we're not able to post anything new for the next little bit. But I do think reasonably, we also have to look at how we keep this up to date and in a manner that makes sense. Because, the last thing we want is to try and draw people into our creative community and then have them reach out to someone that doesn't exist anymore. There is nothing that kills someone's interest in something than that particular issue. So we're working through some of these pieces. So whether this is something we do once a year, one and done, and that's the currency, we're just kind of working through what specifically that looks like just for that particular, the update purpose, or the updating piece is really a key component.
It's very similar to what we've been talking about with the marketing calendar. Whose responsibility is it, and where can that live, and who needs to be engaged from a city perspective. So our colleagues in Rec and Culture, they have their own slew of organizations and service providers that they may think have value to be on the list. And we'd want to make sure that, again, we're taking a perspective like they do for their events and culture guide that they would traditionally put out annually in print. Is at the beginning of the year, we do a massive call to be a part of the directory. If you feel like you should be a part of the directory, you send us your information. We have a form, so we have all the right information provided, and then that goes into the directory. So I think we've got a bigger discussion to have with our colleagues in Rec and Culture about both of those pieces and how we can best support the sector by providing the resources through either a marketing calendar and or a directory.
Amanda.
Yeah.
So if there's a group that I know that's left off of the choirs, should I have the lady who's in charge of that choir contact you or Stephanie?
Or you could absolutely just email me as well and just mention their name, and then we can find it. Like as of right now, it's just the website information we're including anyways, since some of these organizations do use like personal email addresses for their main contact. Right. So for now, we are just keeping it simple with their website information. It's pretty easy for me to track most of them down. And like I said, this is a fairly new document, but yeah, by all means, if you notice we're missing any music organizations, theater organizations, funding opportunities, those kinds of things, those key pieces that venues that we think would be of value to the sector, then by all means, just send those along.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And sorry, where can we access that file just so we can take a look?
It's not public yet because we haven't finalized it. So as of right now, we're just building on it. So, if you thought of an organization that we may have missed, then you can just send that to me directly.
Great. Awesome. Well, great work. That's really valuable. Thank you so much. Okay, those were it for the discussion items. Anything else people wanted to talk about or mention?
Just wondering if there's an update on the repairs going on at Georgian College.
Yeah, great question.
Certainly, I can give you a brief update. The lease is signed for Georgian College, and work is underway for things like the fall arrest system has virtually been completed. It's passed. It's been repaired. The curtain, for example, is there's one section of curtain that we need to replace. The one section that needs replacement is okay to use in the meantime. However, we do require a new track. It's on order. We're finding that supply chain issues are still a bit of an issue, but that being said, the theater is functional. We are using the space, and there are some other things like crash bars on some of the fire exits. They have been ordered. They will be installed. The large roll-up door at the back, again, it's in the works of getting procured based on the dollar value. So, like I said, it's still functional in the meantime, and we are working on that more fulsome plan to bring the theater up to where it needs to be. But like I said, we're still functional, and some of those items are just a little bit of a longer lead time. Those crash bars, they're a bit of a longer lead time. But in the meantime, we do things like we put additional staff at the doors in case they need to be opened. We open them. So we have that covered from a safety perspective. So we have fire code compliance. So we're managing in the meantime, and things are ongoing in that regard.
Thank you. I noticed you were introduced today as the acting director of Recreation and Culture. So you're replacing Rob then?
No, I'm acting in the meantime. There is a recruitment process underway, and I'm sure Dawn may be able to speak to it far better than I would. But I am simply just acting instead while there's a recruitment in process.
Okay, thank you.
And the recruitment process, we're hoping to finalize in the near future. So I will look forward to introducing a permanent director of recreation and culture in the near future.
Great.
So if necessary, Kevin, if anyone needs to contact somebody until that recruitment's done, is they shoot something to your email?
Yes, please. Yes.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other, anything else? Couple things coming up I thought I would just mention. Talk is Free, 5-time Dora Award winning Talk is Free, has a show coming up, the Written in Blood trilogy, just in time for Halloween, it sounds like. So that sounds really, really fun. Theater by the Bay's production Mary of Shanty Bay opens tomorrow. It's a great love story. It's a good time, presented at St. Thomas Anglican Church out in Shanty Bay. Beautiful, beautiful site, especially this time of year. And the Simcoe County Theater Festival just announced that it is going to be returning next year and put out their call for submissions. So, if you are a writer, or, if you have people who are looking to get into playwriting, the Simcoe County Theater Festival is an awesome opportunity for you. So yeah, and all that information can be found through Theater by the Bay's website. Anything else coming up people want to mention?
For Bravado Show Choir, our shows are going to be December 9th and 10th at Collier Street. Tickets will be available probably just after Thanksgiving. So start thinking Christmas.
Excellent. Anything else? Well, I guess since this is our last meeting, I want to thank everyone for all your work and the chance for myself as well to be part of this. It's certainly been very eye-opening, and I really hope that it will continue, because I feel like we just got started and there's lots of work to do as we steer towards hopefully a bright and exciting future for the arts and culture scene in Barrie. So thank you all so much. Councillor Riepma, best of luck. And I guess I'll call the meeting to adjourn.
It's been a great process. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
very much, everyone.
Thank you all for your time. Hope to run into you all soon. Take care.
Have a great day.
Thank
Bye.
you. Cheers.
See you at Culture Day.